I'm just fascinated by what you guys do. It totally amazes me. So I want to ask you just a little bit to start out about how the Courtwatch NOLA program got started. How long has it been going on?
Courtwatch NOLA is 3 years old this month, and the way that the Courtwatch program got started was the result of Hurricane Katrina and the dysfunction in the entire criminal justice system, considering that we lost many of the accused persons were displaced, and so one of the goals of Courtwatch NOLA was to bring to the light the what was going on in the criminal justice system, and do that by accountability and transparency. And our goal is to promote efficiency in the criminal justice system.
Okay, yeah, those were some really dark days at Tulane and Broad in particular when Hurricane Katrina hit. A lot of people completely lost in the system. A lot of people held in jail without any evidence, because actually the evidence in a lot of cases had been destroyed. And for a while, I think the federal courts kind of helped out with the New Orleans system. And I think we're still kind of on the mend from the whole situation. So who, when you say, you know, we, us, our, all those pronouns, who is really behind this organization? Who set this up?
The organizers of Courtwatch NOLA actually were a group of local citizens called Citizens for One Greater New Orleans and Common Good, several nonprofit organizations, as well as the initial funding came from the Business Council of New Orleans. And that was in June of 2007.
Okay, and what you do is you send people down to Tulane and Broad to try to figure out what's going on.
What we do actually is we have a fabulous group of volunteers that spend their days at Tulane and Broad keeping track of approximately 25% of the most serious cases against people. So we don't focus a whole lot on drug cases. We primarily focus on cases that involve citizens, armed robbery, homicide, purse snatching, aggravated batteries. And we have a wonderful group. Without our volunteers, we do not have an organization.
Okay, so you're not just having people go in and just kind of sit in the courtroom. You're actually tracking specific cases.
That's correct. We keep track of, at present, I have 806 cases on my calendar. And on a daily basis, I have a group of volunteers. I send out a request saying who's available on a given day, and they write back, and I assign them specific cases in specific sections of court to come back with data that we actually keep track of things that are going on in the court system. And as a result of that data, we prepare a semi-annual report. And Russell, what I'm showing you right now is what our data sheet looks like.
Oh, okay. All right, and this is what your volunteer takes into the courtroom. And David, you've been a volunteer with this thing since it got started, huh?
In June 2007.
Okay, and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I presently retired from the hospitality industry. I've always enjoyed working with people. And this is what I'm doing right now. I enjoy myself as a volunteer, spreading the information to the public. These are neat to know. A lot of the citizens are unaware of what's taking place in our court system. And, of course, that's what I'm there for. To me, it's fun what I do. You know, it's also very important what we do as well. We're trying to create transparency as well as having the cases move in a better fashion than it was previously prior to going in. Now, I've noticed there's been a lot of improvement since our appearance back in the court system.
So do you think that when you come in, that the judges and attorneys kind of change their tune because they know you there?
Yes, they do. It's definitely different because they know they're being watched.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, and we'll have some judge when we walk in there, what are you watching today? And you know, it's good to hear that, you know, that they're being alert. Of course, they know that we're in there to take information and report back to us as to what's taking place in the courthouse.
And so you're really there to check in on specific cases that are going on.
Absolutely. Myself, as Janet said, she assigned cases. I normally I'm there every day, at least 4 hours a day.
Wow.
And I follow the case from the beginning to the end.
That's like overtime for most attorneys, 4 whole hours.
Yeah,
huh?
well, I enjoy doing it. I start the case from the arraignment point all the way to the sentencing phase. You know, it's nothing like following the case from the beginning to the end. And you notice that the case that used to be sitting on the docket for a very long time, because our visual presence of being there, the case is being moved for faster than prior to.
Okay, so the judge knows you're there in the State versus Brown armed robbery, and he's like, hi, how are you doing? It's good to see you. And he's going to put a little bit more oomph into his judging, a little bit more energy and vitality into doing whatever he's got to do, huh?
I most certainly witnessed that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how many cases do you monitor for Courtwatch?
What I want to
Go ahead,
clarify,
Jen.
Russell, for you is that I did say that I do assign cases,
Uh-huh.
but as David stated, he has his own docket that he will keep track of for me and
Yeah.
tell me, and he focuses on the homicide cases and the armed robbery cases, and he keeps me informed as well as to what's going on over at the courthouse. And one of the things what you say is, they know we're there, and we have identifiers we have yellow clipboards. And so when we train a new court watcher, they receive a yellow clipboard, and they bring that yellow clipboard with them to the courtroom so that someone like David, who goes every day, is well recognized. However, not all of the court watchers go every day. When they go in and they take out their yellow clipboard, the court personnel are aware that there is a watcher in that courtroom. Obviously, our goal would be to have a court watcher in every section of court every day. And on some days, we're successful in that. But that's 12 court sections, 5 days a week, requires 60 people. As much as I'd love to have 60 volunteers on a weekly basis, we don't have that kind of personnel at this stage. So now I'll let you go back to your
Okay,
question
great.
to
No, that's
David.
really helpful. And David, yeah, you really must like it though, because you've been at it.
I enjoy it.
And I definitely appreciate your service. I can say, just speaking as a citizen, not just an attorney, because I do think we say a lot on this show. People kind of get the government they deserve. They get the quality of society they deserve. And if people don't shout out, if people don't kind of take the initiative of notifying their public officials or participating in the system, then people just do what they want to do and they don't worry about it too much. And so you're kind of there, I guess, as a reality check about all the good reasons why someone wanted to be a judge or an attorney or a district attorney, I guess.
Absolutely.
And so, about how many cases are you handling now?
Right now, I handle only maybe 6 or 7 cases per day. Some days I'll have even more than that. As I said before, I follow my case beginning. Sometimes I'll pick up a case, in some of it's mid-section, some at the near beginning, but whatever I pick up, I follow all the way to the very end. So.
Okay, and so every time you go into a courtroom, do you take? Janet gave me a couple of these papers. It's a questionnaire on page 2. It's like specific observations of court conduct, and you actually fill this out. Like, did the DA answer the judge's questions promptly? Did the court have to wait for the attorney to arrive? Was the judge civil? I mean, all these different questions about different entities.
That is filled out on a daily basis, and it's filled out to the utmost completeness.
And is this about the courtroom generally, or about your case you're there on specifically?
It's about the case that I'm down specifically. And of course, on the bottom part of the data sheet, there paraphrase where we make notes or suggestions we actually observe besides the notation that's stated on the data sheet. Other things that may perhaps go in the courtroom, we make notations of that as well.
Okay, because I looked at the latest report that came out, and I know that you also, there were some things in there like about what time judges in different sections are, say, arriving for work.
Right.
I mean, is that based on the times when volunteers are present, or is that actually someone keeping track every day, or?
No, that's based on time when someone out like myself is keeping track every day. I know that when court opens at 9 o'clock. So, and in one specific section, which is 8:30, if I got a case in that section, I'm there at 8:30. And I want to know what time the judge takes advantage. If court do it open at 8:30, then I'm there to notate that it's open at 8:30. Then, of course, that open at 9, and the judge may take the bench at 9:15, 9:30. So, we want to keep a data on that.